Bitcoin pulling back a little bit off of the recent highs. I want to talk to you guys about a potential trade setup on Bitcoin.
Bitcoin Zella stands out with its simplicity and clarity. We've crafted an experience that anyone can dive into, whether you're a crypto expert or just a new to the crypto world. Now guess who keeps his eye on us? The author of best-selling book Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And we want to take this opportunity and thank all the people who trusted us, and we read every comment. And the best part, it's free. Subscribing now means you will get all new information for free. Don't just follow the trends, stay ahead of them. Subscribe to Bitcoin Zella today and enjoy the new edge. In this video, let's discuss these topics and more.
Markets are looking quiet to start the day. That's to be expected ahead of all these big events here in the U.S. This is the pre-market data on the S&P 500 or the SPY. This is right where we closed on Friday. So you can see that we're essentially unchanged or slightly higher to start the day. So really, really quiet. There was no major news in the overnight or the weekend. Nothing new that the market hadn't anticipated. No big earnings alerts this morning. And that, again, is keeping things relatively quiet. Now, if we flip over to the daily, this is where things get a little bit more interesting, right? So, number one, we knew that we had this wedge pattern. If you've been following these game plans, we've been following this wedge. We talked about any sort of break below would raise the probability of a dip to this trend line right here. All right, so we did see the bear flag formation, almost a little bit of a channel right there, or wedge pattern, the breakdown on Thursday and the small bounce on Friday. Now, notice how close we are to this level. Based on technical analysis, we still should tag that level, whether it's on today's action, tomorrow on Tuesday, or later this week. The big question I have, and this is something that all technicians will be watching, is that if we do tag this level, do we then get another leg up in the bull market? Or do we get a smaller bounce or no bounce and then break down to the downside? So that's the bigger question here that, again, all of us technicians will be following. Now, you might say, well, what are the odds? Well, you have to respect support until proven otherwise, so you would expect something like this to be the slightly higher favorable thing. But remember, every day that we come into this level, like if we go here and then we kind of go like this is new pieces of the puzzle day in, day out that then start to form a bear flag. When you get a bear flag forming, it starts to change probabilities, right? So everything starts to change or continues to change with each passing day as you get a new candle in the chart. Bitcoin, again, here was your double top. You had a little tag of a double top. It's off the screen over here. But what we're seeing is Bitcoin is kind of trading lower and lower and lower. And I have this dual cross-section, an upsloping trend line connecting this low to this low here, and then this downsloping trend line from here to here and even here that cross right there at around 64,000. Now, I'm just gaming it out, and this is part of being a good investor, is you need to think 10 steps ahead. Most people think with emotion. They're like, oh, well, if this candidate wins, which I'm sure this person will, or vice versa. No. You play both games. You say, okay, well, if Trump wins, what happens to Bitcoin? What if Harris wins? What happens to Bitcoin, right? And you kind of play that out. And you have to do that. Do it agnostic. No, you can't say, oh, well, I really believe this, so I'm going to go with that one. You got to be ready for every angle. Doesn't matter. So the idea is here, my thought process is this. If by chance, let's say it looks like Harris is going to win, Trump has been more favorable to Bitcoin and crypto, you might get a dump to 64. I think it's only a short-term dump, and I think you buy 64 if we get that pullback into it, all right, for a move back up, maybe even a new all-time high. So, as long as the stock market's not in free fall, and it's not, I mean, we had a pullback here, but it's still holding that lower level of support, then you want to buy pullbacks on Bitcoin until major levels are broken. As long as this 64 holds true, you buy 64 on any weakness over the next couple days if it gets a flush into that level, all right? So, again, that's very key. And then, obviously, if Trump wins, right, we played both sides of it. The idea is that you probably see that push back up initially. The question is, does it, my theory is this, is that It doesn't really matter who wins the White House in terms of the ultimate outcome of Bitcoin. What matters is the national debt, the Federal Reserve, the printing of money, the debt, all of these other factors are going to rule the roost. And I don't really honestly think that either president or a potential president, I should say, is going to have that much of an impact overall. Anyone who talks a tough game on cutting spending, I don't buy it for 1 second. No president in the past recent history has cut back on anything. I don't expect any to until the market, free market forces cause the need or cause us to have to do it. Just the nature of the beast.
Bitcoin has formed a gravestone doji candle on the weekly chart, indicating a potential end to its bullish trend as sellers resist higher prices. The gravestone doji, marked by a long upper shadow, shows failed bullish momentum as Bitcoin closed lower than its opening price. Despite touching $73,000, Bitcoin's rejection prevented it from hitting $74,000. Analysts noted relatively low fresh inflows into BTC ETF versus gold ETF. A bullish divergence on the hourly chart may point to weakening bearish momentum. The current fear and greed score of 74 reflects continued optimism despite recent bearish signals.
Next up, let's take a look here quickly at gold and get into that. If we look at gold here, we bring up the chart. Gold, again, small little bounce today. We can look at the chart here, but again, off of this upsloping channel. I still am expecting a little bit more of a dip on gold, maybe back at minimum to 2675 here. The next level will be around 2600, and then the max downside is around 2530, the upsloping parallel here. Silver came right down into that support at 3250, is getting a small bounce there. Again, is it going to build a bear flag or is it going to shoot back up? We'll have to watch and see, but that will tell us over the next couple days what to anticipate or what the probabilities guide us to be. If we look at oil today, oil is trading basically up a little bit on the day here, so watch that very closely. But again, unless something really shocking happens, I don't really anticipate much price action. And ultimately, I'm still extremely bearish on oil over the next 12 months. You guys see my downside target. I've shown it to you guys before. If we break this line right here, it opens a trap door. Now, there'll be stops along the way. I mean, there's definitely pivot points. 57 is a pivot point here, then down to $50, then down to 43. But ultimately, this here, the two converging trend lines, make a lot of sense where we could, on a technical basis, come back to oil's, downside target. Next up, if we take a look at natural gas, notice natural gas opened lower on the day here, guys, but overall it has already pushed back into the green. I want to show you this. See this low? Draw a trend line right there. There you go. That's why you got to bounce there. So it opened right here last night, Sunday night, my time, and boom, got a little bounce. Now, is this the next move up? We don't know for sure, but I would suspect it's not. It's not a major enough pivot. I would still anticipate a little bit of lower action on natural gas, and I'll still be waiting to patiently buy if we get back to about $2.35. Lastly, I just wanted to touch base on the QQQ chart, which is very, very vulnerable after breaking this trend line. Keep an eye on that, folks. We did get a bounce on Friday. Let's see what happens today. But watch for a bear flag, or do we get a big surge back up and recapture this? Notice, ask yourself, did it confirm a breakdown? The answer is absolutely not, but you still have to be on alert in case it does confirm the breakdown. Okay, so again, it's below. It is not a confirmed breakdown, but if it does, then it could be in quite a bit of trouble. And then lastly, Apple, which had that earnings move on Friday, it basically closed on or just below this line. Again, unconfirmed breakdown here, but on watch. Things could get messy this week if we start seeing some of these bigger breakdowns occur.
A major decline in altcoin prices may be imminent as analysts predict a final altcoin reckoning based on past market cycles. Recovery is expected to follow, similar to trends seen in 2019 to 2021. Benjamin Cowan of ITC Crypto forecasts the final flush-out to end by early 2025, hinting at a potential rebound afterward. Altcoin recovery could align with post-halving surges seen in 2021. Sustained Bitcoin dominance above 60% indicates limited altcoin momentum until BTC market share drops below 50%. Crypto market cap fell to $2.4 trillion on November 4, with altcoins facing the biggest losses. Analysts see potential for a strong alt season once the current phase concludes. Bitcoin is at risk of a significant downturn following a recent rally that failed to surpass previous highs. Analysts point to bearish chart patterns and declining momentum as indicators of potential trouble. Alan Santana highlighted Bitcoin's red streak as a warning, comparing it to past declines in May and August 2023. Failure to hold $69,000 could validate a bearish rounded top, risking a drop toward $40,000. Without breaking all-time highs, Bitcoin's double top indicates vulnerability. Crypto analyst Ali Martinez noted a bearish weekly candle with rejection wicks. Bitcoin still trades above the 50-day and 200-day moving averages, showing some stability despite recent declines. Ripple CEO loses his long-term bank account. Russia publishes new crypto law. Bragg's payment system aims to be a SWIFT substitute, and more in this week in review. The Politify token sector has enjoyed a solid year so far, but as the 2024 U.S. election draws near, many of these meme coins are taking a nosedive. If you've been with us so far, a big thank you. Don't forget to subscribe for free to Bitcoin Zella for your daily news. The link is waiting below. That's all for today's crypto news. Stick around for more updates, insights, and analysis on cryptocurrencies. Share your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and subscribe for more exciting content.